Joburg tonight to attend the opening night of an exhibition. I heard that there's going to be a young man who is going to be painting the event while it's happening. I mean, the band playing, people mingling, and all that kind of stuff. And this is really what's exciting me more than anything else. To see a painter using a form that is usually used in theater, improvisation. So this is going to be quite exciting.
Being painter the music is sweet tonight.
So like when you're painting,
I'd love to paint that music.
Really?
Yes, that's what I normally do with musicians. Always paint to their music.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
When I wake up on the tummy bone, I want an end.
Very good, man. Last town.
I've never been to a Guatemala in my life, you know that?
Wow.
And I come to Joburg quite often.
You should come and see what comes out of it.
Really?
Just come and look for yourself. Yeah.
So is this the only thing that you're doing here tonight?
No, I'm also exhibiting some of my works inside.
You've got more stuff inside?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the works I do, not with pens now, but with music.
Okay.
That I listen to and that I feel inside.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to go inside and look at what you're doing first.
Okay, ma'am.
Then I'll come back because I don't want to disturb you.
Okay, thanks, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Okay.
D'accord. I see art as a language that people utilize to express certain atmospheres. And I've seen art to be one medium we use to tell certain stories. We use mediums, like color, to express certain feelings and certain moods and tell certain stories. When I grew up, there was a lot of protest art when people had to explain to the world and tell the world about our situation and how horrible and horrific that situation was. So the importance of art in terms of telling about one's history and background comes in there when you know that I'm not just painting for fun, but also to tell stories that would help us think. Tell these stories, even dig deep into our archives and look at things that has been undermined. Talk about them, use this medium, and if you could, make it beautiful. Change the badness of the past into something beautiful that could be carried on by generations to generations into a time known but not to me. We're seeing this cat.
I'm back.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
When I met you the first time, I forgot to introduce myself to you.
Okay, ma.
Yeah. Fatima Tigane.
Okay, ma.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I come from Cape Town.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nico,
Yes. Nico. Yes. And I looked at your paintings.
Yeah.
And I am stunned by the colors. And the images that you create, but most especially are your titles to your works. They are all traditional African titles.
Thanks, man.
And that pulls me to you.
Oh, thank you
because
so
I'm
much.
A person who loves African traditional things. And I was thinking that, saying that when you are painting live bands, on stage, how about painting a play? Because I am rehearsing a play. Absolutely. Have you ever done that?
I've never done that.
Serious?
I've never.
So?
Play. I've always worked with musicians.
Listen. I am rehearsing, I'm directing now, was Albert in Cape Town. I was thinking that, how about you come to Cape Town, okay?
Wow.
And paint me and the cast rehearsing was Albert.
Wow, that sounds interesting. That shocks me.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to Cape Town, but that would be a very great honor to do that. I'd love to come. I'd love to come.
Yeah?
I'd love to come.
Okay, bro.
We do it.
Let's sit and talk about
before sees a pang of I'd also appreciate if you could see where that comes from.
I would love to.
Please, ma'am.
Oh,
it's a dream. Thank you, mama.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ma'am Tike.
Yeah.
Diploma up. This is how I blow.
Diploma in the
refresh. From the pressures.
Nice enough. So this is your town?
Yeah, Guatemala. Last Dorp Springs. The last town.
Were you born here?
Yeah, I was born here. Born and raised here. Born and raised here.
So every township has something to offer youth here. Be it soccer, you know, challenjan. What did Guatemala offer you?
The art and music and dance. I used to dance as a boy.
Yeah?
Like a lot. Michael Jackson had an influence in most of us.
I heard that. That used to impersonate Michael Jackson.
A lot.
Having grown up in a township, when you say to me music, I can tell you, you know, people who inspired me, you know, what went on. But with you, what was going on?
I'm from a musical family. You know, I grew up in this family that sing their own songs, their own compositions, no stereo required. When we gather, either a festivity or a celebration of some sort, we sing our own songs. And everything around us is an instrument. We hit virtually everything we come across. Tables, spoons, dustbins, what you pass, packets. Yeah, I'm a packaging with all of us. So
that's where your love for drumming came from.
That's it, yeah. I'm sure, because even my grandmother's church, they used to play some drum bands, you know, self-made drum bands and a till oil.
Yeah.
And the covering is kumba senkom. I used to enjoy that a lot, you know.
I also remembered, like, we used to have afternoon spans in Langa. So afternoon spans were like Sunday afternoon, you know. They would have music. All the bands and all the vocal groups in the township would be playing at the Langa Civic Hall. And that would be like the main event of the Sunday afternoon. And you came out of a culture, a township culture like that, where there was always music. Later on, during the time of the Black Consciousness movement, when all the political parties were suppressed and they were gone underground, and most of the musicians had left to go overseas in South Africa, then we started feeding off the Black American music. But mostly in our time, it was soul, and most of it was like, it was coming out of this era of black consciousness.
Okay.
So, I don't sing.
But you are moved by music.
I love music.
I'm sure.
I love music. Has always played a very big part in my life. When you paint, what happens inside?
A mix of feelings takes place. Some are soft, some are hard, some are good, some are bad, but I try to control that. Because at the end, whatever I do, I tend to be subconsciously aware that it's not mine anymore. you always have, I'm sure, a reader in front of you when you write. Which, okay, I write through my experiences and through the flow of my wisdom. And yet there's someone who should know this. You know, I always have someone who should see that piece in mind. You know, I always visualize the person. Okay, I know the next person might not appreciate this. And the next person, so those mixed up feelings flow through me as I paint. All these mixed up emotions, they come. And then somehow, instead of being mad about them, they go because I've managed to express them through a medium that's not violent.
Hey, boss, man!
Oh, my boss, my constable.
Yeah.
Hey, wait,
Hey, what does that mean?
Here's my boss, my lieutenant.
Okay, los.
Live painting is when you paint a couple of objects placed there. Now, you find people performing, but most of the time we artists don't perform, we paint.
But look, it's written Kentucky Southern Fried.
I always like to break boundaries, you know, to find new subjects for what I do, to make it more interesting so that I can develop and grow within it. So live art for me is like seeing an artist in action.
Hey, no, what the bloody hell is this, man? Push the truck, man.
Unfold your elements and details and your concept. Almost like a dancer would express a mood or an atmosphere through gestures. You know, I do it through brushes and strokes, you know, through color, through shapes. I normally call it spontaneous compositions.
Hey.
You know, like right now, I'm just expressing this mood that I'm gathering, you know. I don't know what it is. I'll find out when I finish. Free flow, you know. Let it go. It's like setting sail and then you're suddenly in a place that's like, wow, I didn't even know I'll find this when I get here, you know. It's the freedom of expression that I enjoy so much. Just find colors and shapes that could tell a tale of its own. It is a medium in which you can tell a story through a certain subject, you know, either now or, now you discover, Uguti, when they look at Bushman rock art, it tells the story of where we come from. There's this thing, if I could talk about it and explain it, I wouldn't paint it.
When people come to see a play or see a painting and they find that the painter or the writer has had the same feelings about something as they are, people go out feeling, yeah, we're not alone in this thing. That's the therapy.
Yeah. I allow anyone who comes to view it to read it and interpret it their own way, you know, and not to ask me too many questions because I've already done it. I'm moving on to another chapter, you know. You know, not to ask me. I'm not comfortable about explaining a painting because I think by that limit creativity and the gist of the story, you know, Amandla will the story with saying our limit by words, and I could have just maybe written a poem about it.
It's not even that. You are stopping a dialogue.
Yeah.
Because every time somebody goes past that painting, they interpret it in their own way. So you are beginning a dialogue each time in people's heads. For me, as a playwright, I listen to people's conversations. You know, how people talk, how people walk, how people do things, how people say things. And those things stay in my mind. When I write a play, I'm telling a story about something. Maybe it's something that bothers me or something that needs to be corrected in society. But that's the first creation, because when the actors and the directors come into the story, they become the interpreters, okay? They will interpret my words. But the people who go to the art gallery to look at your paintings will also form their own stories in their mind about what you have drawn, because that painting is your first creation. The similarities then between you and me is that everything is frozen into time. It's timeless. the play will always stay like that. The painting will always stay like that. The poem will always stay like that. For a black woman, pain is old. Pain is deep. Pain is personal. Toothache at 4. Heartbreak at 16. Birth pains at 24. And now, the pain of still being a girl at 64. Patience has its limits. Taken too far, it's cowardice. Cowardice. Poetry.
Yeah.
Quick expressions of everything. Of being in love, being confused, of anger, of joy, of happiness. Those are quick ways in which people can write through poetry and express what they feel inside. In the same way, it serves the people out there in exactly that way that the poet used it to take something out that was bothering them. The person who receives it also says, yeah, I remember having this thing. So this is how you get rid of this thing. Or just the pure joy of understanding another person's way of being happy, another person's way of seeing life. Poetry is very big in South Africa right now. I mean, there is performance poetry, all kinds of poetry, and it's young people. And I think what makes it even more stronger is rap music, because rap is all about people talking about their situations. That's what art is all about, you know, how we see life, because we see life in different ways. You've got your truth, I've got my truth, you know. So when I meet my truth through your truth, it's a sharing, you know.
At dawn, the rays of the rising sun kisses our lips as Virgo the morning star make out our footprint. We are Samburu, not butterflies, stringing chords from ancestors, guitars moving with songs of time. Itiago Sha, Gitwakapina as the forest echoes our clan names. We, the same.
Performance poetry just blows my mind, completely and absolutely.
Our red veins mark the soil, and the split blood of our warrior sheep dances with the safari snakes. Questioning us now in 2008, where we are at. The fire that lies through which new rays of life breaks. A moment in time when our new voices collectively must heal the deceased land souls together, linking the aged and the unborn.
Have I forgotten where I've come from? Have I stopped questioning things now? Look what they have done to my name. The wonderful name of my great-great-grandmothers. Nomgqibelo Ncamisile Ncebisa. The bully bureaucrat was surprised. What he heard was music to his ears. What is Dino? Senovia? I am from Chief Daluqolo, Velai Godle of Emampondweni. And my name is Nomgqibelo Kamncebisa. Messiah, help me. My name is so simple and yet so meaningful. But to this man, it is trash. He gives me a name. I end up being Maria. I, Nomgqibelo Ncamisile Kamncebisa. When I first came into the art scene, as I call it, in the early 70s, I met a lady, a white lady, who became a very close friend of mine, Sue Clark. And she was a poet. And she introduced me to the poems of Oswald Mchali. I still remember very clearly. The first anthology that I ever read that was written by a black man was a book called Songs from a Cowhide Drum by Oswald Mtshali. And one of the most amazing things about that period of the 70s was that we were still living in a very, very oppressive South Africa. But writings such as those were still being allowed, to surface, and to give one hope, because you read these poems and these people were expressing exactly what you felt and how you felt. She then introduced me to Wally Serute. And when I read Wally Serute's poetry, Wally Serute in the 70s was like a coiled spring, ready to bing, like that. I remember a very, very simple poem of Wally's, very simple poem. It went something like, I saw a man come, walk, run, fall, like a branch of a tree being sawn off. People gathered around him to watch. I was one of them. People got stabbed, and you would see a person running, and then they would fall. And then everybody will run to gather around him, And then suddenly you'll see blood coming out of him. And then you'll realize he was stabbed. In the South Africa of the 80s, when the struggle was heightened, the whole idea of being an observer changed. Now, the young people of South Africa were demanding that if you are black, you can never be an observer, because we are risking our lives to free everybody who is black in South Africa. So, izithameli, so buyangazo.
I am the product of hunger. I am the product of social injustice. I represent the victims of tyranny. I represent the insurgent majority. I come from apartheid land.
They say art imitates life.
I reside for a nation.
People who write are trying to, in a way, understand the things that are challenging us in life.
Since conquest, my land is blood-stained.
Our country comes from a very, very disturbed historical background that it is uncomfortable at times to express certain feelings of the past, because people just feel it's annoying, or people just feel you're stuck in the past. And yet, if you look at the reality of the legacies of the past, some of which is still around and very strong and deep.
How hard and traumatic it is to write about pain and not joy. When shall I write about the daffodils? How can I write about the beauty of nature when the ground is daily soaked with the blood of the innocent?
The first poem I wrote was a very, very long poem about a young child, a young girl of 7 years, who was raped and murdered by a migrant laborer in Kukuletu in NY3A. 1975, I remember very clearly. The very first time ngiqala ukuva kuthiwa kukho umuntu ongutata wonto omnyama owarepa umntana ehlala ehostel wamlahla la emgqomeni.
Uta lafu siko labantsundu.
19 uqala kwami ukuyiva into bana umuntu ongutata uyakwazi urepa umntana ambulale amfake emgqomeni. I mean yonke la nto man uyabona la esingayiqhalanga thina abantu.
Isinto soyipoverty. Phela poverty ngathi yahlala
1975. And the day ndiyifunde ephepheni lonto, I went mad. Daphambana. And then size abantu no man.
Yaniphambanisa nje ngoku.
Black people don't do these things. Yabi phaya ephepheni njalo, yeva? And a couple of days later, wabanjwa lo tata.
Ngamthola ukuthi uye.
Wabanjwa ngamapolisi, waqala wabanjwa ngabantu abahlala nabo ekuhlaleni. And then ndaqonda hey, yazi ikhona man, ukhona uSathane ongena ebantwini abamnyama. For abantu abamnyama. Ewe, balahlekele ubuntu babo ngoku le xa besenza izinto ezinjena ne. Okay. But no phindi jonga la way. Xa ufuna justify in fact ne. La tata uyi-migrant laborer eziswe eKapa bama izophangela. Ishiye umfazi emaXhoseni yabona uqhele ulala nomuntu yabona ngoku all of a sudden akasenamuntu alala naye bakhona abantu abathengisayo but bekuthene ngayanga kubo yabona so those are the questions running through my mind again like right through that month when this thing was on the news yabona silahlekelwe bubuntu bethu mulahlekele ubuntu bethu yabona. When this incident happened, it hurt me. It hurt me so badly because I have grown up in a society where children were the wealth of those communities, not objects of rape. He was wrong. Black men don't rape children because to Africans, a child doesn't just belong to a family. That child belongs to the community. It doesn't matter whose child it is, it becomes your child. And that was the first time I ever wrote a poem. And then from then onwards, I just continued to write poetry until I started writing plays in 1976.
History, much as it teaches us a lot about the past, it also helps shape the future.
Oh, 1976. Yeah, during the times of Black Power, everything was upside down.
Protest theatre is the history of South Africa now. It is the measuring stick for today's generation to say, okay, that's where you were, and this is where we are in 2008. What has changed and what hasn't changed?
In expressing the feeling of our societies, protest theatre has helped a lot in awakening the world to the real situation of where we are and how happy we can be even in the midst of difficulties, tremendously difficult situations.
I really thought very long and very hard before I did Rosa Albert because I know too many people today, they say that protest theatre is dead, but protest theatre is not dead. I realized that, you know what? I'm going to do Rosa Albert for the sake of young people in South Africa. The young people who did not live through the exciting times that I lived through first and foremost. Secondly, to bring a piece of South African history right up into their classrooms. And thirdly, to teach. Because you see, you teach through theatre. Just sharing all kinds of things with them. Little codes, that we used during the time of protest or under apartheid, because we always used codes.
Yes, thank you.
In the prison scene, Fikile, who is the other prisoner, sits there after the other guy takes his plate of food. And he looks at the jail ward, and then he looks at the guy who has taken his food, and he just goes like that, okay? That was township language for anybody who's black. If you were walking down the street and there was a whole crowd of black people coming towards you and you just went like this, every black person in that crowd knows that from the direction that you were coming from, there's a policeman. So what does it mean? The person who has a passbook that is in order can walk bravely towards the policeman. But the people whose passbooks were not in order, find another route, brother.
You should be in prison.
No, Maybasi.
And when you come out of prison, do you know where you should go? Back to the bush with the baboon.
Enyinto is like, I don't know much about Ngesa's card, but history in the fundile, so which means anlazi pasilinjani. Mar andiyazi ukuthi exactly in a workplace apho abantu basebenza khona babetreatwa njani ngoboss babo and all that.
The worst challenge for me as a black person who was born in 1948 when apartheid started and did not know anything else but what the government was telling me. I think the biggest issue for me is to break that here in my head, to break down the walls of black, white, and colored. For you, it's easy. You didn't experience it.
I've never, ever seen people being handled the way they were, like, first, about the play where you see this guy being mishandled by the cop. I've never seen people things being done like that to them. And for me, it was quite a challenge, actually, even to do that.
I've seen grown-up men who were being abused like that by police, and you could see the anger boiling up. And then you know what breaks the anger? They look at the white men and then they laugh.
Yeah, look and laugh. That's
because
the
they
best
know
weapon.
that if they don't laugh, something else is going to happen. We had a message to give to the world about what was happening in South Africa. And I think that theater, more than any other art form, maybe theater and music, played a very big part in telling people the story of South Africa.
See, we document history. And that's how much
Now, what I would like to know from you guys is, you're looking at a painting that was done while you were performing the play. What do you feel the painting says about you or about the production itself?
From how it went from being a blank to this, the transformation which occurred. The first thing which I noticed was the railing and where the costumes are. But what really sticks out for me, here, right here, there's a cross. And on that cross, it's clearly a graveyard. I thought it was a Bible, which one of my characters carries a Bible and I thought that's what it was. However, upon closer inspection, kubhalwe amagama phaya abantu omxenge, izifani zabamxenge, luthuli, ngoyi, sobukhwe, and these are the characters that at the end of the play bavuswa ngumurena, inkosi uYesu, he raises them from the dead.
Here is Albert Lutu, the father of our nation.
The last part of the play in Woza Albert was staged according to the way Africans invoke their ancestors.
Raising
Albert Lutuli, who was the father of the nation at the time, is to say to people, bring back that old wisdom.
I command your bones to come together and rise, for you are the hero of black children. Woza Steve!
Woza Pranfisha!
Woza Griffiths Mtenge!
Woza Ruth First!
So we wanted all of them to bring back those qualities into the present day South Africa and teach us or reteach us what it was like before we became democratic.
We should all know it. It's important. Yeah. It's very important. And it's good that Mam Tiki has taken it to schools. I feel like it's a very wonderful thing to do, to show that history will never die.
We don't talk to our youth enough about what happened, about the roles that those people played in the struggle. As a result, we are not arming our children enough for the future so that when they understand the past, they can be able to go into the future knowing this is what happened before. And these are things that must not be allowed to happen again. It's nice for us to be sitting in a mixed audience as people of the same country, looking at ourselves and thinking, how can we take this journey forward, so that we can heal each other completely?
As an artist, I've seen so many African traditions going astray.
And then halfway through, you adopt izinto zenye culture. then you are rejecting a part of yourself.
Anything that you don't carry forth generation to generation tends to be extinct or tends to be forgotten, if not wiped out completely.
Namhlanje youth iyayilahla la ndawo yeculture kakhulu. Mhlawumbe kunezinto apha kwiculture ningasazithandi. Yabona? And because ningabantwana, you are young people, perhaps you are unable to make the adults address these things that you do not like about our culture.
What is culture? Is it a way of life, or is it something that a community or a society develops to better respect and better understand one another, to help us get along?
Arema Africa, areba nabatariantu, wanangorele wotibia.
Our children speak a lot of English today because we encourage them to. We speak that language with them, and we tend to not encourage them over and over again over our own. And the more we don't teach it to them, the more they will never find meaning to teach it to their own. So it's extremely important for us to teach our children our mother's tongue. It's extremely important to reinvent certain elements that comes with those languages.
Lenkondlo engukucala kwempilo iyimvunulo yabasakhula iyisikhumbuzo kwabadala ingumsusa wendaba isiphetho sokufa ingukhetho nohulumeni nomthetho enkululekweni ingabakhwezeli bezimpi nabasiki bebunda.
Nice to meet you, my brother. So, be strong. And don't stop writing in Zulu because I'm still writing in English. I'm still colonized.
No, writing in Zulu and English is...
Keep writing in Zulu. There's a lot of stuff that's written in English. Afrikaans. Writing Zulu, English, and Afrikaans will be the first South African. Number one. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, you have a beautiful spirit, my brother. Just keep it up. Keep it up. The thing of language is very important.
It is, man.
Because now I'm guilty of it. Do you know that? Because when I write plays, and my plays are written in, most of my plays are written in English. And then you'll find bits and pieces of Afrikaans and Xhosa.
Does it worry you?
No.
Does it?
It's not that. It's about how we started in protest theatre. That we were told that we're not writing plays for black people. Black people are living oppression. We're writing
They're
plays,
living what you are writing. So.
Exactly. But we're writing plays for the other people
to know,
to understand.
And English seems to be the language.
And honestly speaking, I got stuck in that. And I think most of us who are my peers, we got stuck in that. And we forgot the issue that there are other languages.
Hey, wait, now I are now, man. Answer was no letter in speed. English dominate like crazy. I mean, yes, mama. And nabantwana abancane basikhuluma isilungu basikhuluma ngithuke nangibhekele ngathi ngikhuluma nomunye umlungu oqeda ukufika from le England. Kuthi lo mntwana shaya isilungu omncane kanje. Akhulume nabazali bakhe ngaso umntwana omncane. Uva umuntu omdala iAfrican okhuliswe ngesintu akhulumisa umntwana isilungu. Kamampela hayi ngokudlala ke manje.
Do you know where this thing comes from? After 76, when all the schools were burnt down, right? Some of us felt, we can't have our children just sitting election, not doing anything.
Multiracial.
So we started sending kids to private schools, those who could afford. Before Mekonesi in Model C, the people were there right at the beginning when there were no schools in the township. We are to blame for what's going on in South Africa as parents. Goba Indoni, your child comes back from that school and they speak like a madam. And you know what? That makes you feel you're one up on your neighbors. If your child can speak English like that, like a madam,
then you're elevated.
Exactly.
One out on a little color.
Exactly. No. Can't madam. And so you actually encourage this child to speak this language. And in that, then they don't accept ezinye izinto zesintu, the traditional things about, being black. They don't accept those
because
things.
Being black has been dragged down and
phela,
it
it's
looks
backwards.
like isintu siyawa nathi nasuse namanje isiwe kahle from this mountain. Kuthi sanamanje isiwe kahle lesintu. Basiza now.
Yazi into endiyibona kakhulu apha eSouth Africa yazinto. It's like ingathi thina norhulumente wethu uthatha examples from Americans. We are looking at cultures that have already advanced, which means they've gone beyond ubuntu bazo, yabo. Abasenabo ubuntu bona, because the cultures is involved in Mali, yabo. They are wealthy countries.
Pillar fast because life is short, and then meluenza okuningi within that space of time.
Uyajonga ngoku into ezenzekayo, for instance, apha ekulukeni, yabo. Every year.
Why sebafa mamadala musukeluka khona and bebangafiki?
Abasayenzi yabona iyafanele ubona.
Oh, I say ritualistically honest and true.
Ilobola qala ne, it was about not the money. No,
but for
because
the love
there's no price for a human being. You can't buy a human being. Yeah. But ilobola yona yayenzelwe esikweni into kokubana nxana umuntu ethathwa kokwabo sisiwa komnye umzi, ne? So that's why ndisithi thina abantu silahlekelwa bobuntu bethu.
Mara khuzani mama, akubhale kakhulu nikhuze nje mama nikhuze ukuthi le ndlela sesithathayo, though we might be comfortable ngayo, though we might be happy and think ourselves good, akusiyo kahle kahle, ikhona indlela yethu.
Thina sifuna uzilungisa, ne, as a nation, as abantu, ne? Thina kasibuyele ebuntwini, yabo? And umuntu yintoni umuntu, eh? Umuntu ivethu, yabo? Because umuntu bukuxela ngantoni, bukuxela ngendlela yokuphila ubomi bakho ngendlela elungileyo. Yabo? Ukwazi ukuphilisana nabanye abantu. Uzazi wena ba ungubani uyintoni uvelaphi, andithi? Hayi family ne? Ekhaya mos singabantu abasathetha nabantu abaphansi. Yaqona.
Which the youth look down upon nge manje ukuthiwa hayi isidala leso ngakhuluma nabantu abafili. See, spirituality for me, it's not only religious. It is not only philosophical. It is something that a lot of people are born with, and within it, they find healing powers. So I try so much within my art to tell stories that have ridiculed spiritual powers of the past, that they exist, and through it we can come up with things that could heal.
Most of my understanding of the spiritual lifestyle, which I learned when I went to India, talked to me because it talks to the African in me. It gives me a greater understanding of the teachings that I got from my home as a child. So spirituality takes me back to my original qualities as a person.
Mama, the painting, as we talk, it's about us. It's about the painter and the writer, and the talk between the two, which is what makes me feel good about being an artistic with nail. Let me be real, let me be honest with myself, at least through a medium called art. Picasso said something very fascinating, that every child is an artist. It's just that some don't pursue it. I loved that. Because by every child, it means all of us. No, some will never pursue it, but it is through art that we tend to get to know people and, all kids, how they think and feel.
What I like doing, interacting with young people, because they make me feel young too. Because inside of me, there's a little child who likes to play. And so I enjoy it. very, very much. Amen.
My dream is to make art important and meaningful and show why we are here and why we're doing it. The more we take art and we get young people to know about it, the more important they tend to see what it is. So the more we take art to them, the more we tell them about it, the more we show the importance of art worldwide, not only where they are. I'm sure the more they start to respect, and some will also, discover that talent within themselves and will explore it, and then they will develop it, and they will take it seriously to whatever levels they fancy.
My dream, you know what my dream is? I want to have a repertory company, but I need a sugar daddy somewhere out there. Say to me, hey, I love that thing that Fatima said. Hey, I think I've got 2 million rand. Let me give it to you.
I'm a sugar daddy.
If I can have it, a repertory company. When I die, I'll go straight to heaven because I'll be happy.
Yeah.
That is my dream.
How's it achievable?
Because I think South Africa needs repertory companies. Companies must come back. You know, theater, drama companies, the ones that we used to have in the olden days, we need to have those.
If I had to be given $10 million, the first thing I would think of is to establish a youth recreational center with a lot of art studios, to develop and cultivate art within my community. Just to get kids, get art professionals to come there in the ghetto and cultivate this talent, because the more we do that, the more masterpieces and the more master artists we will have.
I think what young people really need is the older generation to be more understanding and more open and more receptive to them. And I think in that way, we start to build a very trusting society, a strong society where people don't hide things because they think, if I tell my mom this, she's not gonna like it.
It's important to always look into things that help us as people to get by, to get along. And if we can also use art to do that, that's incredible. Then we give it more meaning and more life into life. Our lives, you see.